I got a chilling text from mom on Christmas Eve 2024. Just one cold line. I can't watch your kid anymore. And moments later, in my Chicago, Illinois, kitchen, a tense showdown with her stopped my heart, like a lightning bolt cracking through the Texas plains, shattering any hope for a warm holiday. I'm Amber Mitchell, 29, a full-time nurse at Chicago Memorial Hospital, single mom to Lucas, 5, and tonight, December 25th, 2024, I stand in my 10-square-foot kitchen, the scent of Christmas cookies lingering, but no one expects my family, the ones I trusted most, to betray me. Over the phone, mom's voice cut sharp. Amber, you're on your own. I can't watch Lucas anymore. I need my life. I'm stunned, heart racing, unable to believe the woman who cuddled Lucas daily, sent me pics during my 12-hour shifts, now turns her back with a text. I ask, voice trembling, Mom, I've paid your mortgage, car, utilities for 4 years. How could you do this? She snaps, that's your duty. I don't owe you anything. Dad stands nearby, silent, eyes averted, as if agreeing with her coldness. My face burns, tears welling like a knife's sharp stab. For 4 years, I've worked grueling shifts, earning $45,000 a year, sending $1,500 monthly to my parents for their help with Lucas, thinking that's what family does. But now, on Christmas Eve, when I need them most to cover my shift, they ditch me and my 5-year-old son to enjoy themselves somewhere, leaving me to scramble alone. I yell, you can't do this. I've sacrificed everything for this family, but Mom hangs up, leaving me hollow in the chilly kitchen. I clutch my face, tears hitting the tile floor, wondering if my 4 years of sacrifice meant anything when the family I trusted most chose to abandon me and Lucas just for their own lives. That moment, like a time bomb exploding, makes me realize I wasn't just betrayed. I've been financially exploited all along. I can't forget my single mom life, relying on my parents to watch Lucas, and now, I must look back over those 4 years to understand why they chose Christmas Eve to stab me in the back like this. // I have to look back over the past 4 years to understand why they chose Christmas Eve to stab me in the back after Mom's text, I can't watch your kid anymore, and the tense showdown in my Chicago, Illinois, kitchen, after uncovering the betrayal from the family I trusted, carrying the pain of being exploited amid a shattered holiday. My life shifted 4 years ago when I, a full-time nurse at Chicago Memorial Hospital, became a single mom after my boyfriend ditched me upon learning I was pregnant with Lucas. Earning $45,000 a year, I chose to keep my son, shelving plans to become a nurse practitioner, and moved to the Oak Lawn, Illinois, suburbs near my parents to rely on them for childcare during my 12-hour shifts. I believed family was my rock. My parents always said, family helps family. And I agreed to an unspoken deal. I paid their $1,200 monthly mortgage, $300 car insurance, and $150 utility bills, totaling $1,650, in exchange for their help with Lucas. Those early years felt warm. Dad adored Lucas, hugging him every morning, while Mom texted me daily photos of Lucas playing with toys, beaming. I worked tirelessly, sacrificing personal dreams, thinking it was worth it to see Lucas grow and families embrace. I sent money faithfully, sometimes skipping meals to save, believing this was how families support each other. My parents used my cash to pay off their mortgage, buy a new car, and live comfortably while I clocked 60-hour weeks to raise my son. But on Christmas Eve 2024, when Mom refused to watch Lucas with an icy tone, I realized my trust was an illusion. They didn't help out of love, but for financial gain. I stood in the chilly kitchen, tears hitting the tile floor, questioning if my 4 years of sacrifice meant anything when my family chose to ditch me and Lucas for their holiday fun. How could I have known this journey would lead me to confront my past when I gave up dreams to sacrifice for family, only to face betrayal? / That journey forced me to confront my past when I gave up my dreams to sacrifice for my family, only to be met with betrayal. After 4 years of covering rent, car payments, and utilities in Oak Lawn, Illinois, everything shattered with my mom's coldness on Christmas Eve, when I realized my family was no longer my anchor, carrying the weight of impossible choices. It all started in 2020, when I was 25, in my final year of nursing school in Chicago, Illinois, dreaming of becoming a nurse practitioner, earning $90,000 a year to live independently in my own apartment. But life took a sharp turn when my boyfriend ditched me right after I told him I was pregnant with Lucas. He yelled, I ain't ready to be a dad, and vanished, leaving me with a broken heart and a life-altering decision. I chose to keep my son, put my dream of continuing school on hold, and moved back near my parents in the suburbs of Oak Lawn, about 15 miles from Chicago, hoping my family would have my back while I worked 12-hour shifts at Chicago Memorial Hospital. I worked my tail off, making $45,000 a year, raising my kid and trying to save, but late nights studying were interrupted by Lucas's cries, forcing me to let go. My nurse practitioner dream faded, replaced by extra shifts to cover bills. I still remember my mom's disappointed look when I said, I'm keeping Lucas, and her icy advice. You're on your own. Don't expect us to bail you out." But I still believed my family would come through. I gave up my dreams, moved into my parents' 1,200 square foot house, living in isolation, thinking it was the way to build a supportive family. At first, I tried to balance work and motherhood, sometimes skipping meals to save $50 a week, convinced my sacrifices would pay off with family love. I worked nonstop, sent money to my parents, hoping Lucas would grow up surrounded by warmth, but that pain, like a scar that never heals, made me question my worth when my family couldn't see my effort. I stayed up late caring for my son, worked myself to the bone, and sometimes crashed on the couch from exhaustion, but I still believed my family would always be there. How could I have known this journey would lead to an unspoken deal with my parents, where I thought family would have my back, only to face a coldness I never could have imagined, //. That journey brought me to those early years of happiness, where I believed every sacrifice was worth it, only to uncover the truth behind their help. After the unspoken deal with my parents in Oak Lawn, Illinois, after I paid for rent, car, and utilities in exchange for their help watching Lucas, I carried the belief that family would always be there. From 2020 to 2022, life felt meaningful, even though I'd given up my nurse practitioner dream to work full-time as a nurse at Chicago Memorial Hospital. I pulled 12-hour shifts, earning $45,000 a year, sending $1,650 a month to my parents, and believed it was how families supported each other. Dad adored Lucas. Every morning, he'd scoop him up in a hug, play with his little toy cars, and flash a big smile, while Mom texted me photos every day, Lucas drawing pictures, munching on cookies, or passed out on the couch. I worked nonstop, sometimes skipping meals to save $50 a week, but every time I got a text from Mom with Lucas's grinning face, I knew every sacrifice was worth it. I remember those weekend afternoons when I'd drive back to Oak Lawn, seeing Lucas run to hug Dad's legs, and him telling stories, "Grandpa's always gonna be here for you." His warm voice making me believe family was my rock. Mom took great care of Lucas, cooking his meals, taking him to the park 2 miles from the house, and calling me during my shifts. "Focus on work, I've got Lucas covered." I worked 60 hours a week, sometimes crashing on the couch from exhaustion, but the joy of watching Lucas grow up in my family's arms made it all feel right. I sent money like clockwork, used my credit card to chip away at my parents' $200,000 mortgage, bought them a new $25,000 car, and thought it was a fair deal. I sacrificed. They stepped up. Those early years, like a light in the darkness, made me believe family would always have my back, even as I let go of my personal dreams. But that trust started to waver when Mom griped about babysitting, despite my timely payments, and I never could have guessed that happiness would give way to mounting tension, where I'd have to face the truth about my family. How could I have known this journey would lead to those brewing tensions, where Mom's attitude began to shift, setting the stage for a shock I couldn't have seen coming, //. That journey led me to mounting tensions, where Mom's attitude began to shift, setting the stage for a shock I couldn't have foreseen. After those early years of happiness in Oak Lawn, Illinois, my trust was shaken by her complaints, even though I believed every sacrifice was worth it for my family's support, carrying a gnawing worry through my grueling workdays. By mid-2023, when Lucas was 3, Mom started griping about watching him. She'd call me after my 12-hour shift at Chicago Memorial Hospital, her voice strained. "Looking after Lucas all day is wearing me out. You need to figure something else out." I was floored, my heart pounding, because I was still sending $1,650 a month for rent, car, and utilities, thinking we had a fair deal. I bit my tongue and replied, "I get it, Mom, take a break. I'll make it work," picking up an extra 10 hours a week to scrape together $500 more for a part-time sitter at $20 a session. But Mom still muttered, "Lucas is too much. I can't handle him." Dad stayed quiet, just nodding when she spoke, his eyes dodging mine like he agreed, making my face burn like I'd been jabbed with a small knife. I worked nonstop, sometimes getting less than 4 hours of sleep a night, hoping my family would see my effort. I'd given up my nurse practitioner dream, moved to Oak Lawn 15 miles from Chicago, just so they'd watch Lucas during my shifts. But the tension kept building. Mom sent fewer photos of Lucas, just texting curt updates like, "He's fine today," while I kept sending money on time, using my credit card to chip away at their $200,000 mortgage, buying them a new $25,000 car, and making sure they were comfortable. I started wondering if I'd done something wrong when Mom complained again. "You need to find another way. I'm not a babysitter," even though I was still skipping meals to save $50 a week. That anxiety, like a scar that never heals, made me question if my family really cared about me and Lucas, but I clung to the hope it was just a rough patch. How could I have known this journey would lead to a gut-wrenching rejection, where Mom coldly refused to watch Lucas over the holidays, revealing a truth I couldn't have imagined, //. That journey led me to a gut-wrenching rejection, where Mom coldly refused to watch Lucas during the holidays, unveiling a truth I couldn't have imagined. After the mounting tensions in Oak Lawn, Illinois, After mom's complaints about watching Lucas despite my $1,650 monthly payments, I carried the sting of betrayal amid my expectations of family. On Christmas Eve 2024, December 25th, after wrapping up a 12-hour shift at Chicago Memorial Hospital, I called Mom from Oak Lawn, my voice weary but hopeful. "Mom, I've got a night shift tomorrow. Can you watch Lucas?" I waited, trusting that after 4 years of covering rent, car, and utilities, my family would have my back. But Mom's reply was ice cold. "I need my life back. I can't watch Lucas anymore. You're on your own." I froze, my heart pounding like I'd been stabbed with a jagged blade, unable to believe the woman who once texted me photos of Lucas playing with his toys every day could turn her back with a single sentence. I stammered, my voice shaking. "Mom, I've paid $1,650 a month for 4 years. How can you do this?" She shot back, "That's your responsibility. I don't owe you anything. I deserve a break." Dad stood nearby, silent, his eyes dodging mine like he agreed, making my face burn as tears welled up. I shouted, "I gave up my nurse practitioner dream, worked 60 hours a week, just so you'd watch Lucas. You can't abandon me like this." But Mom hung up, leaving me hollow in my 600-square-foot Chicago apartment. I clutched my face, tears spilling onto the hardwood floor, wondering if 4 years of sacrifice, paying down their $200,000 mortgage, buying a $25,000 car, skipping meals to save $50 a week, meant anything when my family chose to ditch me and Lucas to live their own lives. I stumbled to the balcony, staring at the snow falling outside, feeling like my whole world had crumbled. Not only was I betrayed, but I'd been financially used all along. That pain, like a scar that never heals, made me question if I was wrong to trust them, yet it sparked a fire of resolve. I wouldn't let them define me anymore. How could I have known this journey would lead to a bombshell twist on Facebook, where I uncovered the real truth behind Mom's rejection? That journey led me to a bombshell twist on Facebook, where I uncovered the truth behind Mom's rejection after she coldly said, "I need my life back," in Oak Lawn, Illinois. Reeling from the betrayal on Christmas Eve, I carried the sting of being financially used for 4 years. On the morning of December 26, 2024, after that icy call with Mom, I sat in my 600-square-foot Chicago apartment, hands trembling as I scrolled through my phone, scrambling to find someone to watch Lucas for my night shift. Then I opened Facebook and saw Mom's post, a photo of her flaunting plane tickets to Florida, a new $500 suitcase, and a caption reading, #freedom at last, with a beaming smile by the beach. My heart pounded like I'd been stabbed with a jagged blade, unable to believe the woman who just refused to watch Lucas was now living it up on vacation while I struggled to keep things together. I dug deeper. Dad had posted a picture of a $15 cocktail at a 5-star resort, captioned, "Finally some peace." I froze, tears spilling onto my phone screen, realizing that for 4 years, I'd paid $1,650 a month, over $79,200 total, to keep my parents comfortable, chip away at their $200,000 mortgage, and buy them a $25,000 car, all while they secretly planned to get away. I called Mom again, my voice shaking. "I saw the Florida post. How could you do this after everything I've sacrificed?" She paused, then said, "That's your money. I deserve my own life." Her words hit like a thunderbolt, making my whole world crumble. I'd given up my nurse practitioner dream, worked 60 hours a week, skipped meals to save $50 a month, only to be used as a financial tool. I tossed my phone onto the couch, tears streaming down my face, wondering if family even existed when they chose a Florida vacation over helping me and Lucas. That pain, like a scar that never heals, made me question if I was wrong to trust them, but it also ignited a fire of resolve. I wouldn't let them hurt me anymore. How could I have known this journey would lead to a face-to-face confrontation, where I'd cut them off financially and send a final message to protect myself? That journey led me to a face-to-face confrontation, where I cut off all financial support and sent a final message to protect myself, after discovering Mom's Florida vacation post on Facebook in Oak Lawn, Illinois. Reeling from the shock of being financially exploited for 4 years, carrying a fierce resolve to end my dependence on family. On the afternoon of December 26, 2024, after seeing Mom's photo flaunting a $500 suitcase and the caption, #freedom at last, on Facebook, I decided to confront her. I called, my voice trembling but firm. "Mom, I saw the Florida post. How could you use the money I paid to go on vacation while ditching Lucas?" She paused, then replied coldly, "You gave that money willingly. I deserve my own life." I snapped, "I gave up my nurse practitioner dream, worked 60 hours a week, sent $1,650 a month for 4 years, over $79,200 for your help. You call that willing?" Dad jumped in, "Don't make a big deal. We're family, you need to understand." But I cut him off. Family doesn't exploit each other. I'm done sending money. I opened my banking app right then, canceled all automatic transfers, revoked their account access, and felt my heart pound like I'd been stabbed with a bittersweet blade. I was finally taking back control. Then, I sent a final text. "You're on your own now. Enjoy Florida, no more pennies from me." That message, like a healing tonic, made me stand taller, even as tears hit the hardwood floor of my 600-square-foot Chicago apartment. I knew 4 years of sacrifice, paying down their $200,000 mortgage, buying a $25,000 car, skipping meals to save $50 a week, had been exploited, but now I wouldn't let them hurt me or Lucas anymore. Dad called back, fuming, "You're ungrateful. We almost lost the house because of you," but I hung up, deleted their numbers, and blocked their messages. I didn't need their approval anymore. That pain, like a scar that never heals, made me question if I was wrong to trust them, but it also fueled a fire of determination. I'd protect my son and myself. How could I have known this journey would lead to a frantic call from my parents, where I'd face a real crisis with no one to watch Lucas? That journey led me to a frantic call from my parents, where I faced a real crisis with no one to watch Lucas, after cutting off financial support and sending my final message in Chicago, Illinois, after uncovering my family's betrayal in Oak Lawn, carrying a mix of anxiety and anger through those chaotic days. On the morning of December 27, 2024, just hours after I canceled the transfers and texted, "You're on your own now," my phone buzzed nonstop. My parents' Oak Lawn number flashed on the screen. I picked up, heart pounding, and Dad yelled, "You're ungrateful. We're about to lose the house because you stopped the money. $1, $200 a month was everything." Mom chimed in, fuming, "You're tearing this family apart. Who do you think you are, abandoning your parents?" I froze, feeling like I'd been stabbed with a jagged blade, unable to believe they had the nerve to blame me after 4 years of my sacrifices, paying down their $200,000 mortgage, buying a $25,000 car, skipping meals to save $50 a week, just so they'd watch Lucas during my 12-hour shifts at Chicago Memorial Hospital. I fired back, my voice shaky but firm. "You abandoned me and Lucas on Christmas Eve to jet off to Florida. I'm the one who was betrayed." Dad roared, "That was money you gave willingly. We deserved a break." But I cut him off. Deserved? I worked 60 hours a week, gave up my nurse practitioner dream, so you could live comfortably, and you call that willing? Mom went quiet for a moment, then said, "You don't get it. Family needs your support." But I shot back, "Family doesn't exploit each other. I'm done sending money." I hung up, hands trembling, tears hitting the hardwood floor of my 600-square-foot apartment, feeling like my whole world was collapsing. I'd lost my safety net and now faced a crisis with no one to watch Lucas for my upcoming shift. Dad called again. "You need to come back. We'll talk this out." But I deleted their numbers, blocked their texts, knowing I didn't need their approval anymore. That pain, like a scar that never heals, made me question if I was wrong to cut them off, but it also fueled a fire of determination. I'd protect my son and myself. How could I have known this journey would lead to panic and desperation, where I'd have to find a way out amid an emotional storm? That journey plunged me into panic and desperation, where I scrambled for a way out amid an emotional storm, after the frantic call from my parents in Oak Lawn, Illinois, forced me to face a real crisis. Having blocked their numbers and cut off financial support in Chicago, I carried a mix of anxiety and anger through those chaotic days. On December 28, 2024, after blocking my parents, I sat in my 600-square-foot Chicago apartment, hands shaking as I clutched my phone, heart pounding when I realized no one could watch Lucas, my 5-year-old, for my upcoming night shift at Chicago Memorial Hospital. I called everyone, friends declined, tied up with holiday plans. Coworkers couldn't help, busy with their own families, and my face burned, tears welling up like I'd been stabbed with a jagged blade. I had to work a 12-hour shift, earning $150 per shift, but I couldn't bring Lucas along. The hospital banned kids from work areas, and I couldn't afford a sitter at $20 an hour. I stumbled to the balcony, staring at the snow falling outside, wondering how I could raise my son and keep my job when the family I'd trusted for 4 years had ditched me for Florida. I checked my bank account. Only $300 left after paying $1,650 a month to my parents, buying their $25,000 car, and chipping away at their $200,000 mortgage. I didn't have enough for long-term childcare. I buried my face in my hands, tears hitting the hardwood floor, feeling like my whole world was collapsing. 4 years of sacrificing my nurse practitioner dream, working 60 hours a week, skipping meals to save $50 a month, now meant nothing as I faced this crisis alone. I called a friend again, voice trembling. "Do you know anyone who can watch Lucas?" But she replied, "Sorry, I can't help." I tossed my phone onto the couch, desperation flooding me. I wasn't just betrayed, I was abandoned during the holidays with no one to lean on. That pain, like a scar that never heals, made me question if I was wrong to cut them off, but it also sparked a flicker of hope. I had to find a way out, even if it was just a tiny light. How could I have known this journey would lead to an unexpected lifeline, where a neighbor would offer a solution in the middle of this storm? That journey led me to an unexpected lifeline, where a neighbor offered a solution in the middle of my storm, after my panic and desperation in Chicago, Illinois, when no one would watch Lucas during the Christmas holidays, carrying a spark of hope through those chaotic, angry days. On the afternoon of December 29th, 2024, after tossing my phone onto the couch and sobbing in my 600-square-foot apartment, I resolved to knock on neighbors' doors in my Chicago neighborhood, hands trembling, heart pounding, hoping to find someone to watch Lucas for my night shift at Chicago Memorial Hospital. I knocked on the door of Sophia Jenkins, a 72-year-old widow living alone in the 800-square-foot house next door, and she opened it, her kind eyes peering through thick glasses. I blurted out, my voice shaky, "Miss Sophia, I need someone to watch my 5-year-old, Lucas, tomorrow night. I can pay $20 an hour. I'm desperate." She smiled warmly. "Sure thing, dear, I love kids, and $20 is plenty for me." I stood there, stunned, like I'd been hit with a bittersweet jab, unable to believe a stranger was stepping up when my family in Oak Lawn, Illinois, had turned their backs. Sophia shared, "I used to watch my grandkids, but now I'm on my own. You can trust me with Lucas." I checked my bank account. $300 left, enough to pay her $80 for 4 hours, and I let out a sigh, feeling like a radiant light had pierced the darkness. I brought Lucas to her place, and she played with him using old toys, telling him fairy tales, while I got ready for work. I worked my night shift, earning $150, and when I returned, I found Lucas fast asleep on Sophia's couch, clutching a teddy bear she'd given him. Relief washed over me, but it stung too. 4 years of sacrificing my nurse practitioner dream, working 60 hours a week, paying $1,650 a month, buying a $25,000 car, and chipping away at my parents' $200,000 mortgage, and now a 72-year-old neighbor, was my true lifeline. The pain of my family's betrayal, like a scar that never heals, made me question if I was wrong to trust them, but it also ignited a fire of hope. I wouldn't rely on them anymore. How could I have known this journey would lead me to recognize my own worth, where I'd learned to rise above betrayal and build a new life? That journey led me to recognize my own worth, where I learned to rise above betrayal and build a new life, after my neighbor Sophia in Chicago, Illinois, offered an unexpected lifeline during the Christmas holidays after facing abandonment from my family in Oak Lawn, carrying the hope that I deserved genuine love. On the morning of December 30th, 2024, after returning from my night shift with Lucas cared for by Sophia, I sat on my 5-foot couch in my 600-square-foot apartment, watching my son sleep soundly with the teddy bear she gave him, wondering why I felt such relief despite the sting of betrayal. It hit me that my 4 years of sacrifice, paying $1,650 a month, buying a $25,000 car, chipping away at my parents' $200,000 mortgage, working 60 hours a week, skipping meals to save $50 a week, weren't a mistake, but I traded my freedom for guilt, believing my family would love me if I tried harder. For the first time, I realized my actions weren't wrong. I just wanted to be loved the right way, but my family in Oak Lawn had exploited me, not supported me. I stood up, wiped my tears, and told myself, I'm worth more than this. I don't need them to define my value. I checked my bank account, $300 left, enough to pay Sophia $80 per shift, and decided to save an extra $200 a month for daycare, even if it meant cutting out my $5 daily coffee. The pain of abandonment, like a scar that never heals, made me question my worth, but it also ignited a spark of confidence. I wouldn't depend on anyone anymore, not even family. I grabbed my journal and wrote, my value lies in how I care for Lucas, not in pleasing them. My heart felt lighter, like a radiant light piercing the darkness, knowing I could stand on my own. How could I have known this journey would lead me to a moment of peace with Lucas, where I'd learned to build a true family based on love, not obligation, That journey brought me to a moment of peace with Lucas, where I learned to forge a true family rooted in love, after recognizing my worth in Chicago, Illinois, after choosing independence and shedding the guilt tied to my family in Oak Lawn, carrying the hope of crafting a new kind of happiness. On the morning of January 1st, 2025, after a grueling night shift at Chicago Memorial Hospital, I stepped into my 600-square-foot apartment and saw Lucas, my 5-year-old, nestled under our modest 3-foot Christmas tree, unwrapping his only gift, a $10 teddy bear from our neighbor Sophia. His eyes sparkled as he looked up and asked, "Is Grandma coming?" I knelt beside him, wrapped him in a hug, and answered honestly, "It's just us this year, buddy, just you and me." My heart felt unburdened, silent tears slipping down my cheeks, not from sorrow but from the realization that happiness didn't require my family's approval. I built it right here with Lucas. We strung up $5 discount store lights on the tree, their soft glow filling the room, and I spun tales of Santa Claus, even though we lacked the lavish gifts my parents in Oak Lawn once provided. With leftover ingredients, I whipped up $3 pancakes, and we giggled over breakfast. No need for the extravagant feasts or glittering chandeliers my family used to flaunt. I thought back to 4 years of sacrifice, shelling out $1,650 a month, buying a $25,000 car, chipping away at my parents' $200,000 mortgage, working 60 hours a week, skipping meals to save $50 a week, all for their betrayal. But now I knew real love lived in these quiet moments. Lucas clutched his bear, beaming, "You're the best mom ever?" And my heart raced, like a ray of light slicing through the dark, certain I didn't need my old family. Lucas was enough. I played a $2 Christmas playlist on Spotify, and we danced in our tiny living room, free from the weight of those who'd abandoned me. The pain of their betrayal, like a scar that never fades, once made me question my worth, but now it fueled a fire of confidence. I'd create a new family, unbound by financial duties or their validation. Watching Lucas scribble on $1 paper, I realized happiness didn't demand the thousands my family once flaunted. It only needed genuine love. We sang along to jingles, his laughter echoing, and I felt a warmth I hadn't known in years, a sense of home built on our terms. Those simple acts, pancakes, lights, a cheap bear, held more value than the money I'd poured into my parents' lives. I no longer craved their approval or the illusion of their support. With Lucas by my side, I was rewriting what family meant, grounding it in love, not obligation. The sting of abandonment lingered, but it pushed me to stand taller, to trust in my own strength. How could I have known this journey would lead to rekindling a father-son bond, where Lucas's dad would return with an apology, opening a door to healing, //. That journey led me to rekindle a father-son bond, where my dad unexpectedly returned with an apology after I found peace with Lucas in my Chicago, Illinois apartment. After building a new family rooted in love rather than obligation to my family in Oak Lawn, carrying the hope that part of my past could heal. On the morning of January 5th, 2025, as I brewed $3 coffee in my 10-square-foot kitchen, the doorbell rang. I opened it to find Dad standing there, holding a $20 bag of toys for Lucas, his eyes heavy with regret. I froze, heart pounding, unable to believe the man who'd silently sided with Mom when she refused to watch Lucas was here, while she was still in Florida. He spoke, voice trembling. "Amber, we need to talk. I didn't go to Florida. I stayed because I felt guilty." I let him in, and we sat on my 5-foot couch as he continued. "We used to, Amber. And I'm sorry, we exploited you for 4 years, taking your $1,650 monthly payments, buying a $25,000 car, paying down our $200,000 mortgage, and I didn't shield you from your mom." Tears rolled down his face, and I felt a bittersweet stab. After a decade as the unspoken daughter, betrayed on Christmas Eve, someone was owning up to their mistakes. I asked, "Why didn't you say anything when Mom ditched me?" He replied, "I was scared of losing her, but I was wrong to let you sacrifice your nurse practitioner dream, work 60 hours a week, skip meals to save $50 a week." He added, "I love Lucas, but I was weak. I'm sorry for not standing up." I clutched my face, tears hitting the hardwood floor, feeling like a radiant light pierced the darkness. I hadn't expected forgiveness, but Dad's apology sparked a glimmer of hope. Lucas ran in, hugging him, and Dad smiled. "I'll make it up to you, buddy." I nodded. "I'll give you a chance, but it won't be easy." The pain of abandonment, like a scar that never fades, made me question if I could trust him, but it also kindled a flame of healing. I was ready to try again, with clear boundaries. How could I have known this journey would lead me to cautiously give Dad a chance, while setting firm limits to protect _, and myself, //. That journey led me to cautiously give Dad a chance, while setting strict boundaries to protect Lucas and myself, after his unexpected apology in Chicago, Illinois, after he admitted his wrongs and sparked a glimmer of healing from our family in Oak Lawn, carrying a resolve to build a new relationship grounded in trust. On the afternoon of January 6th, 2025, after Dad left with his apology, I sat on my 5-foot couch in my 600-square-foot apartment, mulling over a second chance for him. He called, his voice earnest. "Amber, let me watch Lucas for a day. I want to make things right." I hesitated, my heart pounding, recalling Christmas Eve when he stood silent as Mom bailed, but his remorseful eyes lingered in my mind. I agreed, but laid out clear terms. "You can watch Lucas for a day, but no more financial dependence. I'm not sending $1,650 a month, covering your $200,000 mortgage, or buying $25,000 cars like before." Dad nodded. "I get it. I'll handle my own. I just want to be with Lucas." On January 7th, I dropped Lucas off, and Dad took him to a park 2 miles away, playing ball and sharing stories, asking for no money. When I picked Lucas up, he beamed. Grandpa's dinosaur stories were awesome, and I felt a radiant light pierce the darkness. I wasn't ready to fully forgive, but he was trying. Still, I added, no more carrying mom's anger. If she doesn't change, you don't push me to accept her. Dad agreed. I won't force it. I just want to be a real grandpa. I checked my bank account. $300 left, enough for Sophia's $80 per shift, and vowed to stay financially independent, never letting him lean on me again. The pain of being used for 4 years, like a scar that never fades, made me question if I could trust him, but it also kindled a spark of hope. I'd give him a chance on my terms. I drafted an email. You can see Lucas, but no financial meddling or pushing me to reconcile with mom. Those are my boundaries. How could I have known this journey would lead me to realize my own strength, where I take charge of my finances and build a new life, rising above the pain of my old family, That journey led me to realize my own strength, where I took control of my finances and built a new life, rising above the pain of my old family after giving Dad a chance to watch Lucas with clear boundaries in Chicago, Illinois, after laying the foundation for a healing relationship, carrying the hope that I could stand on my own. On January 10th, 2025, after Dad successfully watched Lucas for a day, I sat in my 600-square-foot apartment, checking my bank account with a $400 balance after saving $200 a month from shifts at Chicago Memorial Hospital. I enrolled in a nurse practitioner program at the hospital, costing $10,000 a year, aiming to earn $90,000 annually for complete independence. I realized that 4 years of sacrifice, paying $1,650 a month, buying a $25,000 car, chipping away at my parents' $200,000 mortgage, working 60 hours a week, skipping meals to save $50 a week, had forged my resilience, not dependence. I called Sophia, paying her $80 per shift, and secured quality daycare for Lucas at $300 a month, even if it meant ditching $5 daily coffees and swapping $10 lunches for $2 sandwiches. My heart felt light, like a radiant beam cutting through the dark, as I understood I didn't need my Oak Lawn family to define my worth. I was strong enough to shape my own life. I drafted a financial plan, saving $500 a month, and signed up for online courses, studying 2 hours nightly after Lucas went to bed. The sting of betrayal, like a scar that never fades, made me question who I could trust, but it also fueled a fire of confidence. I'd rely on no one but myself. A coworker said, "You're tough as nails," and my heart raced, knowing I was moving forward. I bought $30 study books, and Lucas helped me bookmark pages, grinning, "You're awesome, Mom." How could I have known this journey would lead to Dad becoming a true grandpa, where he'd stand on his own and rebuild a bond with Lucas? That journey led me to watch Dad become a true grandpa, standing on his own, and rebuilding a bond with Lucas, after I recognized my strength in Chicago, Illinois, after taking charge of my finances and enrolling in advanced studies to reclaim my future, carrying the hope that our father-child relationship could truly heal. On January 15th, 2025, I got a text from Dad. "I've rented a 900-square-foot place in Oak Lawn, Illinois, and found a part-time job paying $15 an hour. I want to be there for Lucas, without leaning on you." I was stunned, my heart racing like a beam of light cutting through the dark, hardly believing the man who once stood silent during Mom's betrayal was now independent. That weekend, Dad showed up with $10 balloons and a $5 dinosaur storybook, taking Lucas to a park 2 miles away, playing ball and spinning tales about T-Rex that made Lucas grin ear to ear. I watched from a distance, silent tears falling, feeling a radiant glow dispel my pain. For years of sacrificing $1,650 a month, buying a $25,000 car, paying down their $200,000 mortgage, working 60 hours a week, skipping meals to save $50 a week, were now rewarded with Dad's genuine love. He didn't ask for money, covering his $300 rent himself, and each week took Lucas to the park with $2 homemade cookies. I checked my account, $500 left, enough for $300 daycare and $10,000 tuition, knowing I didn't need his financial help, just his presence. Dad said, "I was wrong to let you sacrifice. Now I just want to be a real grandpa," and I nodded. "I'll give you that chance, but you don't speak for Mom. You stand on your own." The sting of being used, like a scar that never fades, made me wonder if he'd keep his word, but it also sparked a flame of trust. He was proving it with actions. Lucas hugged him, exclaiming, "You're the best storyteller, Grandpa," and I smiled, seeing this bond revive. How could I have known this journey would lead to a healthy family story, where I'd heal without needing permission from my old family? That journey led me to a healthy family story, where I healed without needing permission from my old family, after Dad became a true grandpa in Oak Lawn, Illinois, after he stood on his own and rebuilt a bond with Lucas in Chicago, carrying the hope that I'd create a true home. On January 20th, 2025, I watched Lucas, my 5-year-old, play with $10 toys in my 600-square-foot Chicago apartment, realizing family didn't need Mom, who hadn't changed since her Florida getaway. She called a few times, her voice syrupy. Amber, I'm sorry, let me see Lucas. But I shut her down. You haven't changed. I don't need you anymore. I focused on Lucas. We spruced up our $5 Christmas tree, made $3 pancakes, and laughed together. No need for the lavish feasts or dazzling chandeliers my Oak Lawn family once flaunted. Dad visited weekly, covering his $300 rent, taking Lucas to a park 2 miles away, sharing $5 dinosaur stories, and bringing $2 homemade cookies, proving love didn't hinge on money. I earned $45,000 a year, saved $200 monthly, paid $300 for daycare, and studied for my $10,000 nurse practitioner program, fully independent. Lucas thrived with love from Dad and Sophia, without needing Mom's approval. The pain of 4 years, paying $1,650 a month, buying a $25,000 car, chipping away at a $200,000 mortgage, working 60 hours a week, skipping meals to save $50 weekly, faded as I saw Lucas's smile. I wrote in my journal, "True family stays, not exploits." One afternoon, Lucas asked, "Mom, does Grandma love me?" And I replied, "You've got Grandpa and Sophia. That's enough." Knowing I'd healed without begging for permission. The sting of betrayal, like a scar that never fades, made me question my strength, but it also ignited a fire of confidence. I'd built my own family. How could I have known this journey would lead to a powerful call, where I'd invite friends in Texas to share their stories and seek healing together? That journey led me to a powerful call, where I invite my friends in Texas to share their stories and seek healing together. After building a healthy family story with Lucas in Chicago, Illinois, after healing without needing permission from my Oak Lawn family, carrying the hope that you too can rise above pain. In late January 2025, after Dad became a true grandpa, and I stood on my own with $45,000 a year, I realized healing doesn't require approval from an old family. It comes from standing tall. I want to ask my Texas friends, have you ever had to choose peace over parents? Were you ever undervalued for loving your family too much, only to face betrayal like I did? If so, drop your story in the comments. Each one is a flame to burn away pain, proof you're not alone. Hit like if you've ever picked freedom over fakeness, and subscribe today to join me in exploring more healing journeys from family drama on this channel. I promise to bring inspiring stories like mine, from 4 years of sacrificing $1,650 a month, buying a $25,000 car, paying down a $200,000 mortgage, to the moment I said no to being used. Don't let family define you. Claim your own worth, like I did with Lucas and Dad. Thank you for following my story. Stand up, find your own light, and let me know how you've overcome. This isn't the end. It's the start of writing your own healing journey, and I'll be here to walk with you. //